Let's bring in Kory, and then we'll have a discussion with him. I'm curious where he's at with everything, the loss, and kind of the injuries piling up, and then we'll talk more about it after. But please welcome to the show, Detroit Lions beat writer for MLive.com, is always brought to you guys by BetUS, Mr. Kory Woods. Kory.
What up, though?
How you doing?
Man, I'm doing pretty good. I saw this weather change kicking my butt. How you guys doing?
Oh, I'm fighting some adversity, Kory. I'm not going to lie to you. But let me ask you this, though, Kory. Everything that's kind of transpired, you talked more about your thoughts on the loss, but really the major storylines, the injuries. What'd you think of the loss yesterday? And we'll just stick with two injuries. I'm sure the fellas got some more to kind of break down with you. The two injuries that occurred, or three injuries that occurred in the game itself here. David Montgomery, Carlton Davis, Aleem McNeil. What'd you think of the loss, and then what'd you think of that following after? Because it was almost like you took two L's. Well, four L's, really, if you think about it. But what do you think?
Well, first off, regarding the loss, I mean, it's you don't want to say there's such a thing as a good loss, but if there was a game to lose, then yesterday would have been the game for them to lose. You don't want to drop any games in the conference, especially no division games. So yesterday would have been the game to lose. I thought that, first off, a lot of people are going on the obvious low-hanging fruit about the onside kick call. I did not like it. I did not think that it was warranted, especially given that you're down 10 points with 12 minutes to go. But if people are thinking that is the reason that they lost that game, then they are sadly mistaken. Because first off, as I said before on one of my reels, I believe I said on the show, the Lions have the number one highest scoring offense. The Bills are number two. You cannot go out and spot an MVP caliber athlete like Josh Allen, 14 points. Your offense got out the gate, did win a 3-and-out, and then you punt it again, boom, 14 points. Then when you have the Tyler Bass missed field goal, you don't capitalize there. Then you have the same Brown fumble. Those are four empty possessions where you did not score. So, I mean, the offense, yeah, Jared Goff did his his darn thing, but you do not want to be in a game where Jared Goff has to drop back 60 times, regardless of how well he played. So I think that the offense, you knew it was going to be a shootout, but the offense getting out to a slow start is the reason they lost that game. And I mean, it's good they put up a fight. They fought to the very end. I mean, heck, if they would have got that very last onside kick, you're talking about maybe the Lions having a Hail Mary shot to still win that game somehow. But the loss was as expected, given how the Lions' first two drives started out.
Yeah, hey, Kory, I just want to ask you, obviously now knowing with all these injuries, everything going forward, what's your confidence level? We just talked about it for a little bit here to open the show. What's your confidence level on the Detroit Lions to kind of turn this thing around, AG, especially with the defense and those injuries, to turn things around and confidence level still going to win a Super Bowl and making the run that, Lions fans were hoping for this year?
Super Bowl may be a bit much right now just because we have seen how the Lions fared against Josh Allen. I'm just going to say right now, seeing that guy on TV had to be amazing, but I had another higher level, greater appreciation for his game seeing it in person because that guy is an MFing athlete, and their Lions fans should not be salty about what happened yesterday. But going against an Allen, a Mahomes, a Lamar Jackson, that those would be some concerns. But as far as the NFC, as long as the Lions wrap up that number one seed and they have to come through Ford Field, I still like the Lions' chances of getting to the Super Bowl. Granted, the defense is not looking the greatest right now with as it's decimated. I mean, now you have 16 guys on the injured reserve list. You're going to get some of those guys back, but you're going to have a lot of starters out. And when you still look at this offense, yes, David Montgomery is going to be gone. That is a huge loss, but you still have Sonic out there. And I'm curious to see how Jahmyr Gibbs is going to look in an expanded role with more responsibility. This might be a different type of coming out party for him. So I still like their chances because they still have a very loaded offense that they can do a lot of different things. But it's just once they get to the Super Bowl, what can they do there to slow down those opposing quarterbacks with this patchwork defense?
Yeah, Kory, the injuries hurt. When you see David Montgomery go down, it's kind of easy to be like, okay, Jahmyr Gibbs, you're going to get more of the workload. We know we can depend on you. But when you look at Carlton Davis in that secondary, and I think another underlying injury that people aren't thinking about that much is Khalil Dorsey, because now that you have Carlton Davis being out, Who's another guy that's going to be called up to play on the perimeter? Khalil Dorsey. So with Khalil Dorsey and Carlton Davis being out, how do you think they're going to patch that together in the secondary as far as a unit going forward, personnel-wise?
I'm gonna be honest. Remains to be seen because if I can kind of be given the room to waffle on this a little bit, the Lions are still figuring this thing out. Dan Campbell even someone alluded to it. I just wrote an article about it. Right now it's available right now on mlive.com. They're still trying to figure this thing out. I mean, you got Vildor, and I know that's a name that is not one that fans are really happy about, given just the struggles he's had and how he's associated with what happened in last year's NFC title game. But then you just also have to look at the fact that, hey, Rakestraw is still out with a hamstring injury. They're waiting on him to come back. Still got to see what's going on with Melifonwu. Is he gonna, when he comes back? Is he gonna be back in that safety, or are they gonna try to get him into some packages at the linebacker? That's something they're still trying to figure out. We're still trying to figure out what's going on with Emmanuel Mosley. This is a guy that they said that was trending towards coming back and being an asset several weeks ago, but then 3 straight games he's been, a scratch. So there are a lot of questions right now. I know they're talking about possibly, moving Brian Branch around once if he comes back, and then trying some different things with Amik Robertson. But this is going to be a week where you kind of figure out what you're going to do. And again, the Lions are still figuring it out, and if they're still figuring it out, then I have no clue which way they're going to go.
Yeah, Kory, I think it's a fair question given how the run defense kind of looked yesterday. It was rough. I mean, James Cook had his way, and you're looking at the top of the NFC. You're looking at the Philadelphia Eagles. The Lions got moved off the ball on both sides. I mean, the offensive line, you couldn't run the ball, and you got ran all over, which is something the Lions pride themselves on. What's your kind of, I shouldn't say like concern level, like they just forgot how to run the ball, but when you talk about a matchup with the Philadelphia Eagles who moved around the Steelers, what do you think of kind of matching up with the Eagles? And now with the injuries, what's your kind of confidence level that, they got a big win against the Steelers and the Lions lose a big game? What do you think about all this with the Eagles?
Don't even worry about the Eagles right now. Just worry about wrapping up this number 1 seed and winning these next couple of games. I mean, obviously, if the Lions win these next 3 games and they, able to get past that first game in the division around you would expect they would have some type of showdown with the Philadelphia Eagles. But I wouldn't even concern yourself with that just yet, because these next 3 games are so pivotal that if dropping one could just drastically change what they look like in these, and God forbid they drop 2, but if they drop one of these, it could drastically change this playoff picture. So for right now, I would just say focus for Lions fans. Just focus on what you on. Greg Harden, rest in peace. He had a thing saying control the controllables. Right now, just control who is in front of you. Focus on that and let the rest play us out. Don't even worry about the Eagles.
Yeah, Kory, hey, just with all like the injury situation still, I can't stop thinking about all these injuries, and I keep seeing on Twitter, and I know how Lions Twitter can get out of control a little bit with bringing different people in. Do you see them making another move here? Especially like I saw the Jerry Jacobs tweet. Obviously, there's a couple other free agents corners that are still out there, and then like everyone's just freaking out about the Clyde's Edwards-Helaire release today about getting him to come in as a backup for Jameer. Do you see them making any moves, or have you looked into any of that to see if there's an opportunity for them to kind of bring a free agent in?
Well, I would say anything is possible because right now they need bodies. So anything is possible. I mean, I think even before you get to go into somebody like a Clyde Edwards-Helaire, you're going to see what you have with guys like Vaki, Craig Reynolds. I mean, they still got Jamar Jefferson on the practice squad. So I think as far as when you look at running back, I think they're probably going to look in-house first. I mean, Edwards-Helaire, I mean, right now he's just a name in theory. He's just a name. Sure. He has, I mean, if he's able to do anything, or if he was of any type of production, guess what? He would still be with the Chiefs. So I'm not, and then also too, just off of everything that he's going through personally, we don't even know if this guy's even going to play football again. So there is that. So right now, I think when you're looking at the running back, they're going to look in-house. But when you're talking about this defense, I mean, there's how many practice squads are they going to be able to poach? Who's left out there? I mean, there's a couple of, like you said, Jerry Jacobs is out there. He had a very cryptic tweet. I mean, I think that if they did turn to Jerry Jacobs, I don't think that's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, this is a guy that's familiar with the team, the locker room, the expectations. So if they're able to bring him back into the fold, I don't think that would. It's not replacing Carlton Davis, but you're getting a guy back in the locker room who has some familiarity with the standards and expectations. As far as getting somebody out there to plug in for Aleem, I mean, I really have no idea. I will say this though. I wish people would stop hitting me up talking about some Aaron Donald coming out of retirement because that is like I said on my Facebook. You have a better chance of seeing me eat an old English D fitted before Aaron Donald comes out of retirement, has his rights relinquished by the Rams, and he suits up for the Lions. That guy retired at 32 as a first ballot Hall of Famer with nothing left to prove. He's not coming out of retirement.
Hey, what about Sue though, Kory? What about Sue? He posted kind of a cryptic message out there, but no, I don't want anything to do with Sue. All due respect.
I don't think Sue. I think Sue would be one of those imagination, come home, kumbaya stories for Lions fans. But in reality, I don't see any type of reunion with the Lions and Sue. I think that unlike Barry's exit or Calvin's exit, I'm just under the impression there's still some bad blood on the way that Sue left Detroit. I could very well be wrong in this. I could be reading into that situation 100% wrong, but I think there's about a snowball's chance, and that we see Sue suit up for the Lions ever again.
And kind of just to go along,
bring back Isaiah Buggs. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely not that guy.
Yeah.
keep Bugs away. Keep Bugs away. But kind of, we talk about the injuries. I think as Lions fans, we all can understand that they're going to be important. We don't really know what's going to be the next step, but next Sunday you got to play against the Chicago Bears in Chicago. What is your confidence level? We said with the Super Bowl, but what's your confidence level for Chicago as well as just winning the NFC North from here on out, because you got another matchup 2 weeks later with the Vikings?
I think that the Lions can pull this out. One thing that you can say about this current Dan Campbell era run that these guys are going on is that since that 5-game losing streak in the 2022 season, the Lions have not lost back-to-back games. So they do have that feather in their cap. I believe, and I don't want to take 100% credit for this. Me and my cousin were talking about this, but when Matt Eberflus left the Chicago Bears, he took the defensive scheme with them. I mean, so the Lions are in good shape. I believe going into Soldier Field, things could get a little crazy depending on how the weather turns out. But I fully expect the Lions know that they have to go into Sunday's game and take care of business because, again, a loss opens the door for some craziness to happen. So I think that they're going to go ahead and treat this like a business trip and go in there and handle business. This is now because of everything that transpired in the past 24 hours. And this is not me going on some type of reach. Sunday is the most important game of the season and if they win that one, then the next week, Monday Night Football, that would be the most important game. Each of these games is the most important game of the season for them moving forward.
Yeah, Kory, I talked about it this morning when I went live. And we were talking about it last night on kind of the watch party and the post-game show, but moving Brian Branch to nickel permanently for the rest of the year, I think it makes the most sense given they need their best playmakers at the line of scrimmage, given what's kind of been happening. What's kind of your take? I know Dan talked about maybe moving him around a little bit, but putting him at nickel, moving Amik to outside, and then if he gets back, slotting him at strong safety. What do you think about him moving to nickel?
I mean, I think it's a very smart move because Brian Branch he has experience there and he's your most versatile defensive back. So I believe that would be, like I said, Dan talked about that today. I believe that's just a smart way to go. He has a pulse in this situation, so I'm just going to go ahead and roll with that.
Do you think Kory is opposite side of the ball with the run game? Obviously, the last 2 games, it's looked like it's slowed down a ton, and obviously now Demont's out for the season. What do you think the reason is with this run game? Is it the offensive line? Is there just some guys beat up, or what could this be? Because it feels like that's been the number one thing for this offense to get going is, hey, get this run game established. And the last 2 weeks, even with Demont there, it feels like it's slowed down a ton. What do you think that is? And do you think they can turn this thing around, especially heading into the playoffs?
I think they could turn this thing around, and Dan Campbell talked about that today. He said that they need to go ahead and you know, figure out reestablishing their run game. And I believe that, David Montgomery could have been dealing with some things over the past couple of weeks, even before that injury. Who knows? But I believe that with getting Gibbs out there, you still have him healthy. I believe that they can go ahead and reestablish that. I'm curious to see how he will look as the main bell cow, taking the majority of these carries. So I think if anybody can go, it can if anybody can go ahead and get this figured out, it's Dan Campbell and Ben Johnson and that whole coaching staff. One thing about this team is that they have found a way to continue to make the proper adjustments when needed.
And when you kind of just look forward, Kory, we're kind of staying on the run game. But when you have David Montgomery out, naturally, yes, we talk about Jahmyr Gibbs, and I'm a big Jahmyr guy. He's gonna have a lot of opportunity, but they're naturally gonna have to rely on Jared Goff more. And when you look at Sam Laporta, he really kind of had his first coming out game. I know there was a lot of game flow where he had to check it down because it was open, but 7 catches for 100+ yards is the best performance we've seen out of Sam Laporta so far. Do you think now it's kind of like, hey, Sam Laporta, it's go time because we got to find these hidden yards, these yards, the yards after contact in the middle of the field where you saw a lot of the times during the season, they did screens to Monty and he'd kind of eat up that 7-yard gain, 8-yard gain. I feel like a lot of that's going to go to Laporta now. Do you think that Sam Laporta is going to be full go, ready to go the rest of the season?
Well, I think that the Lions are going to have to figure out different ways to open up this offense with the injury to David Montgomery for sure. But I also do want to push back a little bit on the fact that they have to rely on Jared Goff more because at the end of the day, we have not seen Jahmyr Gibbs be an every down back because he has not had to. They've just had the luxury of having Gibbs and David Montgomery, just that formidable 1-2 punch. But I believe that Jahmyr Gibbs is fully capable of being an every down back. As a matter of fact, of that article, if you want to search it on Google or whatnot, I had a conversation with Louis Riddick, a guy that was once rumored to be in contention for the Lions GM job, and he said that Jahmyr Gibbs is a future NFL MVP in the making. So I believe that again, this could be a coming out party for Jahmyr Gibbs. Not to say like, oh, the Lions move on from David Montgomery or something crazy like that, but this could be one where with more touches, we're able to see just what this guy can do and him being actually used in that Alvin Kamara type style. And who knows how Alvin Kamara was used better than anybody? Dan Campbell.
Yeah.
Outside of Sean Payton, of course. But
Yep. Yeah, no, we get you. Good, hey, great stuff, Kory. We appreciate you, man. Coming on, dropping words of wisdom. You can check out Kory M Live, as always, doing a great job covering the Detroit Lions, and check him out on Twitter at X at Kory E Woods. Kory, hopefully next week we get to talk to you on Monday. All right?
Yeah, Kory, you killed it yesterday too. By the way, man, I was following. You killed it. Yesterday was a big day, and you dominated.
All right, thanks a lot, man. Appreciate you guys.
There you go, Kory Woods, M Live, doing his
man.
thing. Appreciate him as always, joining the fellas. And he
Legend.
Yeah, every Victory Monday. This is the first time we've had Kory on in a loss, but we'll have him on next week. It'll be a W. Hey, what's going on there? It's Jeff Iafrate. Appreciate you for finishing the video. You can check out one of the videos here suggested or show support by commenting, liking, and subscribing. And buy your merchandise, officialctsports.com.